Hello, y'all. Am I talking to the right side? I'm pretty sure I am. I hope the lighting looks good. If it doesn't, we're in a world of hurt. Let me look at the settings. Yeah, we should be good. Welcome to another little chit chat video. Today's topic is something that I have not talked about for like 2 years now. I haven't talked much about it, and I don't know why that is, because I'm very proud of it. And I think it's a very empowering story. I think there's just a lot of emotion behind this subject, and I just want to tread lightly. It's very empowering. I know my intention behind it, but I just know that birth can go so many different ways and be such a sensitive topic for mothers that I never want to feel like I don't even know how to fully articulate what I'm saying, but I hope y'all see what I'm trying to say and my intention behind it. But let's get into the story of how I had both of my children at home, unmedicated. I be trying to sit like a lady in these videos, but the chair is so comfy that I want to get comfy. I want to chat. Ooh. This is like my chair. I like to crawl in like a little nook like this and talk, but this gives unprofessional. Not that this is a professional video, but anywho, back to the real subject of today's video. So I had both of my kids unmedicated at home, literally in and next to me and my husband's bed. It was such a crazy experience, but I'm going to start first with the birth story of Jace, my son, who is now 2, and then I'll get into the birth story of my daughter, Kimora, who is now 15 months. And then from there, I'll go into like these questions that I have about questions that people have had, or just things that I think are important to go into if you're trying to do this, or, just information. Really just information. So first off, with Jace. So Jace's birth story begins when I was 37 weeks and I believe 1 day. I started feeling super strong Braxton Hicks. I remember I had intercourse the night before, so I think that kind of kick-started it. And I started feeling like my period was coming almost. Like I started feeling like symptoms of a period almost, which is so crazy because why in the world do pregnancies mirror menstrual cycles so closely? That is a phenomenon I'm going to have to ask God about when I get to heaven, because what is that? Started feeling like my period was coming, started feeling a little nauseous, started feeling a little crampy, and I knew that this might be it. So I texted my doula and I just let her know like, hey, I'm feeling a little weird, think this could be it, but I'll update you later. So I went to sleep. I still started feeling a little weird. Then towards about like 3 o'clock in the morning, I was like, okay, I'm uncomfortable. Like I just feel like I'm cramping. I'm kind of starting to just feel like you kind of start feeling like you want to move. So I was like, this is interesting. I'm moving around a little bit. I wake up the next morning, still a little uncomfy. I'm taking breaks like in the shower. The shower feels really nice. So I'm kind of hanging out in there, but I can still kind of talk through what I'm feeling. It's not too bad. It starts getting a little bit more intense though. And I tell her like, hey, I think I'm kind of in labor. Like I'm feeling a little something. She comes over, she tells me like, hey, I don't really think you're in labor yet. I think this is just like preterm labor. She kind of explained it as I could be feeling this for a week. And I'm like, I could feel this uncomfortable for a week? Like, what the heck is this? She was like, I recommend you do a mile circuit, which is like a stretching movement circle thing to kind of like, get your body situated. It involves like getting on all fours, kind of like stretching your hips out, walking sideways up the stairs, taking like a mile walk. It's basically like 4 different exercise stretches that you do to, I guess, just like prepare your pelvis and help the baby kind of start moving through. So she's like, I recommend you kind of do that, but I don't really think you're in labor yet. It's too inconsistent. Like my cramps contractions. Truthfully, these cramps this whole time are contractions. She's telling me that they're just a little bit too inconsistent to be labor. So, I go about that whole day. The night comes, and at this point, I can't really sleep. So I'm telling Jeffrey, I'm really uncomfortable. This is a little much. So then she tells me, hey, I forgot to mention the day before, she suggested that also with the mile circuit to go see my chiropractor. So maybe I needed to be adjusted to let my body actually go into labor. So we do the mile circuit. We go to my chiropractor. They align me. They say nothing's out of whack. You're fully aligned. I'm like, this is crazy, to not be in labor. I feel really uncomfortable. Mind you, at this point, I'm a full day into this labor because it had started the night before. So I believe it was Sunday night Sunday night is when I start feeling it. Or no. I'm gonna have to get receipts. But anyways, day one, I start feeling it at night. So that's a little bit of a day. And then the whole next day goes by where I'm feeling like I'm in labor, but she's saying not yet. It's just preterm labor. I go to the chiropractor that day. I do my mile circuit that day. I'm still feeling really uncomfortable, but okay, I guess. Then the second night comes about. And now I'm okay, this is a little much to be sleeping through. I'm not really. And I was also advised to go to sleep on a peanut ball and put my one knee under the peanut ball, one knee on top of the peanut ball, so that my legs would stay open while I was sleeping to keep, my pelvis open while baby was trying to maybe make some move for me to start active labor. So I try to go to sleep. I maybe get, 30 minutes, but then the cramping, the contractions wake me up. I'm telling Jeffrey hey, I'm uncomfortable. I need something. So I start taking some showers some more. I start hanging out in the showers. I'm pretty much up all night with these contractions, but I'm trying to time them. My timer's saying that hey, it's looking like labor, but my doula is continually saying that I don't think you're in labor yet. I think you need to wait a little bit longer. So I'm okay. Mind you, the entire birth plan for Jace was for me to communicate to my doula. Your doula is basically your support person. They're your advocate. They're rubbing on you when you need help, getting you water, getting you food. They're your right hand, beyond your husband. And your midwife is the person who actually delivers your baby. So the birth plan going into having Jace was that I would tell the doula when I thought I was going into labor. She would coach me through the pre-labor and is it called pre-labor? She would coach me through the beginning phases of labor up until I was in active labor. And then from there, she would tell my midwife for me when she thought hey, you should start heading to Kim's house. She's probably going to have the baby and stuff like that. So this whole time, doula hasn't said anything to midwife because she does not believe that I'm currently in labor yet. So that's fine. I'm just talking to my doula about it. She's recommending I do certain things, yada, yada. I'm doing those things. But then that whole second night goes by and I wake up in the morning. At this point, I'm exhausted because I've now been, in some pain for the past day and a half. And I didn't sleep at all the night before. So that morning, I make myself some oatmeal and I'm trying to eat the oatmeal because, I want to stay feeling good. I want to give myself some energy, some healthy energy, some carbs. I make myself a bowl of oatmeal, or actually Jeffrey makes me a bowl of oatmeal. He brings it to me. I'm eating it. And then my contractions just hit me so bad. I literally projectile vomit all the oatmeal, over the wall and everything. I'm just oatmeal. And I felt so bad. I was I feel so terrible. Jeffrey's cleaning up, throwing up oatmeal off the wall. It was just bad business. So then from there, I'm no, this is crazy. I can't go through a week of this. Take me to the hospital. If this is not labor and this is just what it feels like to be in pre-labor, I need to find the actual word because I don't know if that's it. But if this is how it feels to not be in active labor yet and just be in the beginning stages, I cannot handle this. I need to go to the hospital and I need them to give me whatever drugs they got. I need to be shot up with the epidural right now. So I'm telling him like, yeah, I'm done with this. Get me out of here. Cut the cameras. And he's like, no, Kim, like you really wanted to do this. You wanted to do unmedicated. Like, I'm gonna support you, whatever you want to do, but you wanted to do this. Like, you can push through. You got it. And he was like, you know what? Let's cut the middleman out. Let's call our midwife. I will say this as a precursor. Our midwife, Nikki, 10 out of 10. If you are going to have an unmedicated birth or a home birth, a birth center, whatever it is, please do yourself a favor and reach out to Nikki Knowles. Love her down. So he's like, you know what, Kim, like, let's just talk to Nikki and see what Nikki has to say. Because this whole time, I'm not talking to Nikki because I'm sticking to my birth plan. I'm only speaking to my doula. So I call Nikki and I'm like, hey, Nikki, like, I think I'm done. I don't think I want to do a natural birth anymore. I think I just want to go to the hospital. And she was like, like, well, sit on the phone with me and let me listen to you have a contraction. So I'm sitting on the phone with her. I go through my contraction and she's like, interesting. And she's like, you know what? I'm just going to hop in the car and I'm going to come over. So she drives over. She comes to the house. She asked me if she had my permission to check how dilated I am, because I just wanted to be as minimally touched as possible. So I had even told her, like, I don't want to do a bunch of checks. I don't want to do a bunch of that. Like, I just want to vibe out during the birth. So she asked me, like, can I check where you're at? Nikki checks where I'm at. And I believe, I hope I'm not lying, but I'm 90% sure at that point, I'm 7 centimeters dilated. And this whole time, mind you, I don't even think I'm in active labor yet. I've been in labor the whole time. So like the mind games that were being played on me was like, I just felt defeated because I was like, this is too much for this to not even be labor. Like, this is way too much pain for me to not even be starting the race. And that was what was defeating to me, because I was like, you know, once I figured out that I was 7 meters dilated, at that point I was like, okay, like, at least I'm somewhere. At least I'm making some progress, and like all this wasn't for nothing. So then she's like, no, like, you're going to have the baby today. You're going to have the baby today. This is like at 7, 8 in the morning. And I was like, okay. Like, I'm exhausted at this point. I'm tired, but like, I can push through at this point. I know that I'm getting somewhere. So, what happens after that? So from there, Nikki has me, we call the doula over. Now my whole birth team is there. Jeffrey's mom arrives. She flies out because we let her know that, I'm in active labor. I tell my mom I'm in active labor. Everybody hops on a flight. Our parents all hop on flights. My dad hops on a flight. Everyone's like, okay, Kim, this is real. I need to put in the Office scene where it's like, what's that Office scene? I'm going to put in the Office scene that this whole situation makes me feel like right now. But anyways, everyone gets to the house. Doula, midwife are at the house, and parents are all flying in at this point. And now we know that we're in active labor. Nikki assesses like where she feels like Jace is and stuff. And she figured out that Jace is kind of sitting on my right side. He's just kind of hanging out there. So he's kind of just like, when I'm contracting, he's just bumping into like my pelvis bone right here. He's not like completely centered over my vaginal canal for him to come out. So we're doing stretches and stuff. She's kind of helping me as I contract, push against my side to try to get Jace to contract centered. And we do that for a while. And at this point, like I said, I'm so tired. And it's like, okay. And when I tell you, Jace's birth song is Promises by Maverick City. Because when I tell you that song was on a loop the whole day, and I was just singing, I was just meditating. And I think there is no other experience to this day that has made me feel more connected to the strength and power of God than having both my kids unmedicated. Because at that point, like, no one can help you. Like, no one can help you but God himself. And you just rest in the fact that, like, I need you. I need your strength. I need your perseverance. And I was literally during this entire phase, I'm imagining Jesus on the cross. And I'm like, okay, if you can endure that for me, I can endure this as well. And I just kept imagining like, this is nothing compared to the pain that, I'm going to get emotional. That's crazy. This is nothing compared to the pain that God, Jesus Christ, endured for my sins, so I can push through this. So we keep going through that. We keep going. I'm contracting. I'm just getting tired, and hours are going by, and it's like, okay, Jace, I need to get a tissue. Okay. Ooh, I'm back. So hours are going by and we're not making too much progress. Jace is still kind of hanging out on my right side. So, I'm walking up our stairs. I walked up our stairs probably like 30 to 50 times. Multiple times I'm moving, I'm stretching. They have me on all fours. I'm just trying to get Jace to move a little bit so I can just push him out. And lo and behold, Jeffrey's mom ends up getting there. My dad ends up getting there. They're all kind of hanging out in the living room and stuff. I'm in my bedroom with Jeffrey. Jeffrey was a trooper during this whole time. I feel like in addition to all the other revelations and stuff that came that day, that was like the true testament of the man that I had married, because he was so supportive and so sweet and so loving. And like every time I had a contraction, like our doula had told us like counter pressure is really good during unmedicated birth. So like basically kind of like squeezing and pressing my hips whenever I have a contraction, so I can kind of focus on the tension in my hips rather than the contraction in my pelvis and such. So every single time I was contracting, Jeffrey was back there to squeeze my hips and make sure that I was feeling good and stuff like that, and just ask if I need anything, and sticking right next to me. And I know at times there was a time point he had to step away too, so he could just like collect himself, because he had been supporting me through this birth now for 2 days, trying to be up with me, not really sleeping either, not really eating either, concerned about my well-being, not being able to really to help. So I know that he was just as exhausted. So he stepped out for a moment about 2 p.m. that day. And it was just me and my doula and my midwife, and Nikki was just talking to me. She was pepping me up, talking about like, Kim, you got this. Like, you got this. Just push through. You can do this. Like, we're going to get this baby out of here soon. And that moment with Nikki and I was also very powerful. I'm glad that Jeffrey, gave himself a moment to collect himself, because it allowed me to just like, to sit with Nikki, like woman to woman. She's like, you got this, like, you can do this. You're going to get it done. And by that time I started feeling, I got in the bathtub, and in the bathtub, I felt way better. So I was in the bathtub and I was like, okay, I think I can get him out. I think I'm ready to push. So then I started pushing Jace out. I tried pushing. She was trying to tell me like how to push, because what you think you're going to push like is not really how you actually push a baby out. And people compared it to pooping, but I don't think I would say it was that. Like it's just like a deep, I don't know how to explain it. I was like, I think I'm ready to push. So I'm pushing Jace out in the bathtub, and Nikki had already warned me that if I did try to push while I was in the bathtub and she saw some blood, she would have to get me out of the bathtub, because a little bit of blood in the bath looks like a lot of blood, and she needs to accurately be able to assess if I'm hemorrhaging. So I started pushing, and I felt really good pushing in the bathtub, but unfortunately, some blood did come out, so she needed to move me out of the bathtub so she could accurately see how much blood it really was. It wasn't that much blood. It wasn't an alarming amount of blood. So she just kept telling me to push. And at this point, I'm on my bed holding my knees to my chest on my back, and I'm pushing. And then she finally says that she sees his head. I'm pushing, I'm timing these pushes. She's telling me, take a second, take a deep breath, and really give me a push. I'm like hurling with the push. I'm giving everything I got at this point. And then we had Jace on the side of on our bed. And she immediately, Jace came out. The cord was actually wrapped around his neck. She just quickly let him out, pulled the cord off, laid him on my chest, and Jace Cameron was here. And that was how his birth story went. He was born on a Wednesday at 4:00, and life has never been the same since. His birth was rough. It was not what I was expecting. I thought in my head, I had pictured like the picture perfect. Like, obviously I knew there was going to be some pain involved. I knew, I was going to have to really work for it, but Jace made me work for it. He made me work for it. But it was good overall. And I'm just glad that he was here safe. I think it's a testament to how much God has protected us all for me to be able to decide that I wanted to have my kids at home and get one out and safe. I mean, both of them, but in this story, one of them out and safe and healthy. And just to be able to sit in my bed after I had Jace and hang out with my husband and have my parents all in my home and have my mom be able to go to my kitchen and make me a meal and then walk back, and I'm still in my bedroom, I could take a shower in my room. That was a huge, huge plus in like just the overall experience and intimacy post-birth. And then afterwards, my midwife took both of our vitals. She stayed for a couple hours to make sure we were good. She came back the next day and then 2 days after again, and did like home visits just to make sure everything was good, make sure Jace didn't have jaundice, give him his vitamin K shot, I think. And yeah, that was the end of Jace's birth story.